Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the debate show program. My name is Hong Kyu-yoon, a host of today's debate show program. Today, we are going to discuss such an interesting topic. We are going to find out whether chewing gum is helpful to athletes or not. To do so, we have invited two different groups. We have invited members from Korea's company who are going to provide various types of evidences and studies in order to prove chewing gum is helpful to athletes. On the other side, we have invited members from Coopers Media to refute against the statements and studies that Korea's company will state. And before we get started, please allow me to introduce all the representatives from both sides. Firstly, from Korea's company, we have Joshua, who is going to explain about scientific evidences how chewing gum is helpful to athletes. Then we have Hyungjun, who is going to explain about the psychological effects, and he is going to provide a lot of different evidences. And lastly, we have Sejong Park, who is going to discuss about physical disadvantages of chewing gums. On the other side, we have Soo-hyun Kim from Coopers Media, who is going to refute against Joshua's statements by mentioning psychological evidences. And lastly, we have Gisa Kim, who is going to discuss about the physical disadvantages of chewing gums. All right, enough with the introductions and talking. Let the debate begin.
Good to see you, everyone. I'm the marketing director of company, and I'm going to be talking about chewing gum and how it affects the human body, particularly the brain. First of all, the act of chewing is said to stimulate the frontal lobe. And in order to know why stimulating the frontal lobe is a positive reaction, we have to know what the frontal lobe is in charge of. Here you can see that is the frontal lobe. It can be divided into the left and right frontal cortex. It is basically where your forehead is, and these are the following responsibilities of the frontal lobe: speech and language production, motor skills, all the way to managing attention. All of these factors may have even the tiniest connection with sports and performance. But we want to focus on just two of the major factors that are associated with sports and performance. The first one is motor skills. Activating the frontal cortex will help you coordinate voluntary movement, which would mean better hand-eye coordination. Now, hand-eye coordination is your ability to move according to what you see in order to obtain a certain outcome. A simple example is when you see a ball flying towards you and you reach out to catch it. Your hand and eyes had just coordinated to catch a ball. And chewing gums will indirectly improve your ability to carry out certain tasks as so. The second one is managing attention. It is really important to stay focused in a sports game. When an athlete becomes anxious or mentally unstable, a negative outcome in performance is inevitable. Once again, activation of the frontal cortex will increase an athlete's ability to concentrate, which will lead to lesser mistakes and a better score. These are simple reactions the body makes when a human chews. As you can see, the act of chewing itself is beneficial, which means chewing gums will have the same effect. This is why we want to promote the use of gums during sports. Now, let's hear what the reporters have to say about this.
Wow. Thank you, Joshua. It was astonishing evidences that you have shared with us that chewing gum stimulates the frontal cortex, which helps athletes' performance. Next, we have Soo-hyun Kim from Coopers Media, who is going to refute against Joshua's statements.
some effort, Joshua, but you need to study more about gums. I'm Soo-hyun Kim. I'm going to talk in a way that's contrary to what he said earlier. I'll explain it from a scientific standpoint. Of course, it is true that chewing gum plays a good role in relieving stress for players, but its duration is only 8 minutes. After 8 minutes of chewing gum, the stress of the player increases. The more gum they chew, the faster their jaw and tongue exercise is unconsciously faster. This is what happens when the cerebral cortex sends message basal ganglia to the cerebellum. The cerebellum plays a role in causing unconscious and rapid exercise. However, if the sweet water disappears over time and the scent of the gum blown away, amygdala is no longer stimulated. Then the cerebellum involvement in the chewing gum movement is reduced. Instead, mechanical and reflexive jaw movements are performed. At this point, the center of exercise becomes the cerebellum, where the fast exercise program of the cerebellum is transmitted directly to the jaw movement rhythm generator between the brain without going through the cerebral cortex. Therefore, as regular jaw movements become irregular, saliva swallows are reduced and the exercise program is faulty. Humans establish a defense system to prevent this in advance. For example, it causes the fatigue of chewing muscles, thus the movement of the tongue, reduced saliva secretion eventually stops chewing gum. The parasympathetic nerves must act to give them a sense of pleasure, but the sympathetic nerves act and put them in a stress situation. You shouldn't think that chewing gum only in your mouth does not affect other parts of your body. Chewing gum can also inject unnecessary air into the body, which eventually leads to IBS and indigestion. As such, chewing gum is rather poisonous to players after 8 minutes. This is why I strongly disagree with chewing gum. Thank you.
Wow.
Wow! Thank you, Soo-hyun, for the great statements. It was interesting to find out that chewing gum makes our jaw movements irregular and how cerebellum involvement from the chewing gum reduces when the sweet water disappears. Next, we have Hyung-jung, who is going to continue today's debate.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hyung-jung. I think Soo-hyun's statements were interesting, but I disagree with the fact that chewing gum only relieves stress for a short time and then increases stress. I will explain why I disagree by mentioning psychological effects of chewing gum. A study suggests that chewing gum may increase concentration and lead to changes in cognitive performance. The present study examined effects of chewing gum on this function within the context of a single study. This study had 4 main aims. The first was to examine whether chewing gum improved learning and memory of information in sports match. The second aim was to determine whether chewing gum improved test performance on a validated intellectual task. The third aim was to determine whether chewing gum improved performance on short memory tasks. The final aim was to determine whether chewing gum improved mood. As a result method, in each week, volunteers attended for 2 sessions, 2 days apart. The first session assessed mood, immediate recall of information from a story and performance on short memory task. The second session assessed mood, delayed recall of information, from a story and performance of an intelligence test. The results of this study assert that chewing gum increases concentration. That above also my statements, and I strongly believe my statements are solid than other studies. Thank you.
Thank you for the great evidences, Hyungjin. It was interesting to find out how chewing gum can be beneficial psychologically, especially the part when you mentioned about how chewing gum can improve the aspects of cognitive function and mood. Next, we have Ki-Suk Kim, who is going to discuss about physical disadvantages of chewing gums.
Thanks, Hyunjun. But I disagree with the statement that Hyunjun had mentioned. There are some side effects of chewing gum. First of all, it may trigger in your jaw. Chewing gum can cause jaw muscle imbalance if you chew on one side more than the other in your jaw, which can be a painful chronic condition. Anytime you overuse a certain set of muscle, it can lead to contract muscle and related pain, including headaches, earaches, and toothaches over time. Therefore, there is a high risk of injury to your jaw if you chew gum when you play sports. Secondly, chewing gum can damage its tooth. If you chew chewing gum contains sugar, you essentially bury your teeth in your sugar while you chew away. This can contribute to tooth decay. Even if you chew sugar-free gum, there are still risks to your teeth because sugar-free gum often contains acidic flavoring and preservative that may in fact lead to dental erosion. Our mouths are full of bacteria. These bacteria, along with mucus and other particles, constantly form on sticky, colorless plaque on teeth. Brushing and flossing can help get rid of this plaque, but gum can't get rid of this plaque. The last thing is choking. Here's an example. A Brazil player yet in hospital after colliding with an opponent and choking on his chewing gum during a second division match in Brazil. Doctors say he sustained a head injury and started breathing momentarily as the chewing gum broke his airway. For this reason, chewing gum during exercise is dangerous. Thank you.
Wow, this debate is getting hotter and hotter. Thank you, Ki-Suk. It was great to know the physical disadvantages from chewing gum. It was fascinating to know how chewing gum imbalances the jaw muscles and how it can be very painful to athletes. Also, it was fun to learn how it damages the teeth of athletes. Lastly, and unfortunately, we have Sejong Park from Korea's company who is going to make the last statement of today's debate.
That was a nice speech by reporter Ki-Suk, but I think you have to find more information before you present. I'm Sejong Park, who is the owner of a Korea company. People have been chewing gums in various forms in past thousands of years. And if there were serious problems with teeth and brain, like they have mentioned, the gum may not exist in this world. Okay, let's find out many physically proven benefits of chewing gums. First, chewing gum could protect your teeth and reduce bad breath. Chewing sugar-free gum could help protect your teeth and from cavities. This is because the sugar feeds the bad bacteria in your mouth, damaging your teeth. However, some studies found that sugar-free gum are better than others when it comes to your dental health. Studies have found that chewing gum sweetened with the sugar alcohol xylitors are more effective than others at preventing tooth decay. This is because xylitor prevents the growth of the bacteria that cause tooth decay. This is because xylitol prevents the growth of the bacteria that cause tooth decay and bad breath. In fact, one study found that chewing xylitol sweetened gum reduced the number of the bacteria in the mouth by up to 75%. Furthermore, chewing gum after a meal increases saliva flow. This helps wash away harmful sugars and food debris, both of which feed bacteria in your mouth. Second, it can reduce their stress and boost their memory. Many studies have found that chewing gum while performing tasks can improve various aspects of brain function, including alertness, memory, understanding, and decision making. Interestingly, like what Suyeon have mentioned, some studies have found that chewing gum during the task could be a distraction at the start, but they could help you focus for longer periods. However, chewing gum improves memory isn't fully understood. But one theory is that this improvement is due to increased blood flow to the brain caused by chewing gum. The benefits of chewing gum on memory have only been shown to last while you are chewing the gum. However, habitual gum chewers may benefit from feeling more alert and less stressed throughout the day. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Sejun. It was great refuting against Gisek's evidences. It was fun to watch how you have refuted by mentioning how chewing gum can protect athletes' teeth and how it reduces athletes' stress and boosts their memories. Alright, this will be the end of today's debate. And before I wrap it up, I would like to ask the judge who the winner is. Judge, please come up to the stage. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hong Kyu-yoon, a judge of today's debate show program. And before I announce the winner, I would like to thank all the representatives from both teams. And I would like to ask all of these classmates to give a round of applause to both teams. Thank you. To conclude today's debate, the winner of today's debate is the Curious Company. However, studies that Cooper's media have stated are still convincing too. That is the reason why we should consider the event of the sports in order to find out whether athletes should chew gums or not. Alright, this will be the end of today's debate, and thank you everyone for listening.